All right, welcome back to the 2 Minute Warning, episode 330. Back on the topic of the Houston Texans seemingly falling apart with Deshaun requesting a trade. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. But instead of the downside, we're going to be talking about why the Texans are better off without him. But first, question of the day, who is the Houston Texans franchise leader in pass yards? Again, stick around for the answer revealed at the end. But Jay, you got a top 5 quarterback in the league, really been the star player of your team since he showed up there. He wants out. Why could this possibly be a good thing for this team?
A couple of things is, one, you just kind of want to recoup and fix yourself from the whole Bill O'Brien scenario. We know he kind of dug them into a hole. They need to be dug out of it. I'm not sure the Laramie Tunsil trade was a failure. It does suck that it ended up being the number 3 overall pick, but at the time it did sound like a right move because we thought the Texans were moving forward with the star quarterback, with the franchise quarterback who needed protection, and that was the right move at the time. But getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins, we all know that was a steal. That was stupid by Bill O'Brien, of course, that's been known. But also, second reason is you don't want to keep Deshaun Watson just because of the bad vibes, the weird juju going around. If you look at the Eagles, how they had to fire Doug Peterson, obviously because it was a little shady what he did in Week 17 against Washington. But even if you kept him, it'd be weird to keep him and Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts when he benched them both. It just wouldn't be normal chemistry where you want your teammates to all love each other, be on the same page, ready to win, and have their mind specifically on the game, not worried about who did what to me, who said this, who benched me, blah, blah, blah. And that is exactly what you'd have with Deshaun Watson, how he'd always feel the Texans trade him. They talked about him behind his back. They lied to him. Even if they kept him and worked something out, things would never be the same. Therefore, you just want to move on and get a new clean slate. You need to cut your losses while you're behind at this point. You need to get your trade picks back. You need to get draft capital back, and you're not in a good situation. Even if you kept Deshaun Watson, he went 4-12, his best statistical year ever, one of the best statistical years by a quarterback in general, and he went 4-12. Even if Deshaun Watson has a normal year of 85% of that, in which, as you could probably expect, I doubt he's going to play at his absolute best every single year. It's probably going to be about 80% of what he was this year. Not that that's a bad thing, but like I said, Patrick Mahomes threw for 50 touchdowns one year and then 29 the next. So clearly not everyone has this consistent thing. Deshaun Watson playing at a 90% of what he is, or 80%, whatever it is going to go from 4-12 to 1-15 or 2-14, whatever it is. I don't see them getting better this year by any means, especially with not having draft capital, not having not having a lot of cap, and the only thing that there's nothing really going for you, and on top of all that, your entire team that's not really great is just aging. JJ's not the same anymore. Your receiver core is not getting worse, but Brandon Cooks is known for his speed. He's only getting older. You guys dropped Kenny Stills. Will Fuller's becoming a free agent. David Johnson is not worth DeAndre Hopkins. You don't have a run game. You don't have a defense. You don't have an offensive line. You don't have Deshaun Watson anymore. So you need to start over and get the draft capital where you could start from the beginning, no matter how long it takes. You want to start in a rebuild rather than keep furthering your losses.
Yeah, you bring up a good point with the off-the-field stuff, with the chemistry. But I think on the football field, it's ultimately a business. I think that can be overcome. But what can't be overcome in Houston is the lack of skill everywhere except for under center with Deshaun Watson. Yeah. Simply put, the only way that the Texans can repair their team and actually become a well-rounded team that can win 9 games in a year is get rid of your most valuable asset, one of the most valuable assets in the league, in Deshaun Watson. You name the receivers. Randall Cobb is old. Brandon Cooks definitely had a great season, but he's definitely not a number 1 guy, and he's old, getting older.
He might have only looked good because of Deshaun.
Because he got 94% of the targets on the team.
Exactly.
Will Fuller suspended and free agent, didn't know that, but free agent, so he probably number 1 guy, but he's not reliable. He is very talented, I'll give him that. And then who else? Darren Fells at tight end. Just none of these guys are great on offense. Offensive line is bad with the exception of Tunsil, and defense J.J. Watt wants out as well, and he's old. Just nothing about the Texans team is elite except for the quarterback. That obviously, that recipe equates in a 4-win season, no matter how good, no matter you put Tom Brady in his prime on that Texans team, they probably win 5-6 games at most. So you trade him to the Jets, theoretically. You get a second overall pick. Maybe take Sewell to protect whoever else you get. Protect Darnold. You pick Devontae Smith, you get a number 1 receiver. Whatever it is that the Texans can get for Deshaun is the only way that they can become a team that gets really any respect.
Yeah, I mean, outside of that, both of us think this is the best option for the Texans, and really the most idealistic thing to me would be probably the Miami Dolphins, because you get a starting quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa. Yeah, there's a lot of what ifs and buts about him, but the dude has won. He has a winning record, and he finished 10-6. I know he didn't start the whole season, but he's a winning quarterback, and really, that's all the really Texans can really ask for right now. Beggars can't be choosers. To me, Tua is probably the top pick outside of, I guess, Sam Darnold or Jimmy Garoppolo or Jared Goff. Or outside of between those four quarterbacks, I'm not really sure one's gonna be better than the other of your steal. But you need a quarterback. I like 2 out of those 4 because he wins, and you could get a lot of draft picks from the Miami Dolphins. You get a quarterback, you get the number 3 overall. You're basically getting your number 3 back for Laramie Tunsil, so you're almost getting them for free in a sense. Obviously, it's not like that officially, but you're going to get Laramie Tunsil. Maybe you could draft Sewell, so you could surround 2 with 2 all-pro tackles, and then you'll probably get Miami's extra first-rounder that they got from whoever it was. Their own first-rounder.
Yeah.
This one was from the Texans.
Yep.
Their own first-rounder at 18. You get a receiver, maybe Jalen Waddle, maybe a corner, just anything that can develop this team. You want a captain probably on the defense to sit behind JJ and learn from him, so I think a corner, an extra edge rusher would be great in the first-rounder. Just the slow process of building up. You're not going to win it all back in this first season, but this is a start, and I think the Miami Dolphins is the best trade package for the Houston Texans, because you have to also consider you need a team that wins for you, but you also need a team that Deshaun is okay with because he has that no-trade clause. You can't send him off to Detroit and get Matt Stafford in return, who's a great quarterback, because we know Deshaun Watson's not going to say, yeah, send me to Detroit, or no one wins.
Yeah, and I'm really serious. I mean, as a Texans fan, if you would have told me 2 years ago that Deshaun would want out now, I would have been kind of just horrified of that reality. But at this moment, I really don't see a better option or another option that would save this team other than trading him out. So I'm serious that I think the Texans are much better off without him, just because the team right now around him is just plain terrible. And, I mean, simply put, they're just not good.
Yeah, and unfortunately, no matter what the outcome is, say they kiss and make up, Deshaun Watson stays, or say he leaves, whatever it is, I don't have a lot of faith in the new coach they hired. Was David Culley.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of stats.
All of his accomplishments are like last in the league.
Yes.
Third to last in the league from an offensive standpoint. He spent time with Baltimore as a receivers coach or maybe offensive coordinator. But when they were ranked,
he was an offensive assistant.
Whatever, they were ranked last in passing yards. Now, granted, that is with the quarterback doesn't throw the ball very well, but there's some relationship there. He spent time with the Chiefs pre-Patrick Mahomes a year when they had really bad receivers. So really, this guy's history is not good. So I'm seeing 3, 4, 5 seasons before the Texans even win more than 8 games.
Yeah, it's not going to look good. If the Colts can find a quarterback, the Tennessee Titans keep Derrick Henry, and Trevor Lawrence is even half of what we think he is, the Texans are going to be struggling in that AFC South division for a long time.
Absolutely. It's going to become like what NFC West was this year, with the Niners with no quarterback and in pieces with 3 other good teams. Because this division in the AFC South is looking like a division, if the Texans shape it up, could have 4 contending teams every year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look at AFC North as well. Yeah. Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, Big Ben. AFC is getting tough, and if the Texans want any chance, they got to at least get through the division at that point. And at this point, they're not even through that right now.
Absolutely. All right, that's all for the video. Comment below whether or not you think the Texans are better off without Deshaun, because I know I do. But as far as the question of the day, your answer is quarterback Matt Schaub is the Houston Texans franchise passing yards leader with 23,221. Thanks for watching 2 Minute Warning.